Yeah, David to the whole world. Miss V, can't stop my destiny. I got a ruling. Mama told me I'm a champion. Definitely so. Shout out to all the mothers and the fathers who are just inspiring their children to do better and to fulfill their destinies. A shout out to all of you from all of us here on #GTV Breakfast. Yes, fulfill your destiny before you check out. It's 7:38, and my destiny right now is to give you the headlines, courtesy of my destiny helper, Thelma Taki, who has all the headlines in the palm of her hand right now. Hey. Thelma, what's up?
Hey, Cav, how are you?
What is going on?
I don't get why people are so hale and hearty on Mondays. I mean, haven't you heard of the Monday
This is
blues?
the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
So let's fulfill our destiny. Miss V said so. And if your mama told you are great, yes, indeed you are. And if she didn't, we are telling you you are great. Welcome to Monday. Cav, these are the stories. The biggest one, of course, is quite political. Alan Cash and his future in Ghanaian politics is across a number of the headlines this morning. Quite an interesting twist. So like much of a sting in the tail for those who are on the NPP side, but for those who are fairly open to new suggestions, then you may find this quite interesting. But it's the headline segment, and we are getting into the details of all the papers, and we'll start from the screens now. The Ghanaian Times is talking about the Apollo outbreak and the upsurge that we found recently. And quite a lot of things have been said about conjunctivitis. Good morning, Maltiti. Welcome back to the show. We love you, as always. And so the Ghanaian Times is talking about Apollo. Ghana set to establish lithium refinery in Western region. We are talking about the precious minerals and everything that's happening with mining. But as we strive to keep the fight against Galamsey alive, 24 of these illegal operators have been jailed, 115 years together. So all 25 of them are serving a total of 115 years. So the Galamsey fight still very, very much an issue. So that's the Ghanaian Times. We'll see what other papers are saying. The Finder newspaper, quite a spread on its front page. Pick one lucky number out of 36 to win 26 times the stake. There's a new game in town, Game Park. It's on the front page of the Finder newspaper. Passengers stranded as bridge is washed away at Doli. Yesterday, we saw some scenes on social media with that bridge separating one community from the other. And so we'll get to see some details emerging from that. I'm contesting to crystallize the dream of our founders. Dr. Kutu still speaking in the news on his political ambitions. ECO, let's avoid another failure. Dr. Baumia whips up interest in 20-year single currency agenda. We are told that Ghana has met none of the criterion to have that common currency. It's called the ECO. So that criteria, only 2 countries have met at least one, Liberia and another. Ghana, no criteria at all met. More stories on the front page of the Finder newspaper. Police arrest house help for allegedly murdering his madam at Sokobang. MTN Ghana pays dividend of 34.5 million to SNET. So making money and sharing the proceeds with those who need it to be shared with. More stories on other newspapers. Let's see what next comes up. The Ghanaian Observer, Alan to partner Ivor Greenstreet for 2024. And this is the political story that I was talking about. What's Alan Cash's ambition? What's the future of his politics in Ghana? Could this be the next step he's taking? Already we've heard news of some persons in his camp moving to the camp of other contenders in that presidential race. Government committed to ensuring macroeconomic stability. The VP is speaking there. Limited voters registration, which is still ongoing. If you haven't registered, do try to find the district office near you and get your name on the list if you are eligible. Some patrons abusing guarantor system. According to the EC, you can only guarantee for up to 10 people. So keep that in mind as you go about. Ghana lost 64 million to fire outbreaks in 2022. Quite a staggering figure. Yesterday, there was a fire in Accra. We'll get some details of that later. Game Park, that story is also on the front page. Pick One officially launched. Apia Kubi to contest NPP Efija Kwabre South seat. Lots happening in the world of politics from the lens of the Ghanaian Observer. The Daily Dispatch, down memory lane 28 years ago when President Rawlings and his VIP Aka got into a brawl at a cabinet meeting. So if you're slightly above a certain age, you probably would remember this story and how much of a big deal it was back in the day. Kenya fuel prices reach record high. We're told that even on our side, we're expected to see some price increases in our petroleum system. NDC Council of Elders petitioned on Omanebo Ame's appointment. More stories. Opoku Prempeh, Energy Minister, leads team to World Bank on energy sector recovery program. EC's Mrs. Jean Adukwe Mensah wins IAA award. That also details in the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Other stories, this time from the Daily Searchlight. Missing in the sea, Navy continues search for Ada canoe accident victims. We heard the story last week that 19 fishermen were affected in that accident. 16 of them were found. The search then resumed for other survivors. The Navy is still on the search, according to what we are being told in the Searchlight. Ofosun cancer kicks against imposition of sitting MP. Encourage your children and wards to choose TVET schools. STEM education, the call to get more people on. Still on macroeconomic stability, key to realizing single currency dream. VP Baumia to West African finance ministers. Linda Asante of NPA receives 2023 Excellence Awards. I will produce food to feed the whole Africa. Kennedy Japan bringing his showdown dream to you and talking more about what his vision would be if he should become the candidate of choice for the NPP, if he should become president of the country. Growing enough food to feed the whole Africa, he says he is able to do that. More, the Chronicle. EC will fully roll out non-stop registration next year. So it's the Electoral Commission. We've seen Dr. Srebo there speaking. Non-stop registration, it means that the offices will be open round the clock, and as and when anyone feels he's become of age or is now eligible to register and has not done that already, then they can walk into the offices and do that. They said that the plan is still alive. Expand registration centers. Mahama tells EC a call he is reiterating once again to get more registration centers open beyond the district offices. I'm a proud UP, but my heritage is not a motivating factor. Dr. Kutu still speaking on his presidential ambitions for the NPP. So that's what the Chronicle newspaper is telling us this morning. And all the details for this and other stories, CAF will be sitting down with his gentlemen to talk about some of the topical stories. We are thinking Alan Cash and his future in Ghanaian politics. Will it be at the side of Ivor Greenstreet for 2024? We are asking the question. Perhaps you would like to join. We'll also be talking about the fire outbreaks and what it cost Ghana and other stories in the newspapers. Whatever your interests are, whatever you want to add to the conversation, our WhatsApp number is 055-55-61034. Of course, you can also connect with us via our social media platforms, GTV Ghana, everywhere. And I'll hand it over back to you, CAF.
All right.
What's the destiny on the screen looking like?
My destiny is to tell you about another coup attempt.
An almost coup.
Yes, so it's happening right now. So this is on the BBC's live page. Congo denies claims of coup attempt, urges calm. And the Congo-Brazzaville government has denied reports of a coup attempt against President Denis Nguesso, who has been in power for 39 years. It follows unconfirmed social media reports that the military was trying to oust the 79-year-old leader, who is currently in New York for the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly. The government denies this fake news. Information Minister Thierry Mungala posted on X, formerly Twitter, on Sunday. We reassure public opinion about the calm that reigns and invite people to go about their activities calmly. The government's website also posted a statement denying the coup attempt reports. There's been a wave of coups across Africa in recent months, with the most recent one in the neighboring Gabon, where the military seized power in January. Mr. Nguesso rose to power in the oil-producing Central African country in a military coup in 1979. He lost Congo's first multi-party elections in 1992, but regained power in 1997 after a civil war. The Congolese leader is the third longest-serving president in Africa, after Equatorial Guinean Teodoro Obiang and Cameroonian Paul Biya. So when life began at 40 for this chap, he went into power, and he's been there since he was 40. He's now 79, and so the latest is that the Congolese authorities have denied that the reports of a coup attempt against President Denis Nguesso. We'll be talking coups and things in our stories here, and assurances from the army. But let me start with introducing my guests to you. On my far left is Adel Umar, who's a member of the National Communications Team for the National Democratic Congress, and Fahd Osman, who's a member of the National Communications Team for the New Patriotic Party. Gentlemen, salam alaikum to both of you. All right, let me just dive into a coup-related story. So today's graphic: we will not support coup. Ghana Armed Forces assure. So the military has pledged to protect the constitution and the sovereign will of the people, and not to engage in any activity that will threaten peace and democracy. The coups in West Africa are a major concern, but for us, we are resolved to protecting the constitution and the will of the people. If the people decide that democracy is the type of governance they want, then we need to respect that. These are the words of Vice Admiral Seth Amwama, Chief of Defense Staff. He spoke these words last Friday when the leadership of the Ghana Journalists Association paid a courtesy call on him at his office in Accra. What do you make of this assurance from the CDS, Adel?
Good morning, Kafri.
Good morning.
Good morning to my brother Osman.
Yeah. Good morning.
Osman Fahd. Kafri, before I delve into it, let me say a warm good morning to His Excellency the former President John Dramani Mahama. Over the weekend, there was a program we had at the National Mosque.
Let me cut in for you.
Right.
I'll come back to you shortly.
Right.
Because I just want to get some context on this particular call, and then I'll get back to you. All right.
Very well.
So Imran Kutun is Executive Director, Africa Center for Security and Counterterrorism. He's on the phone right now. We just want his insights on this assurance from the Ghana Armed Forces about no to coups. Emmanuel, good morning. Welcome to the show. CDS says we won't support coup. What do you make of this public statement that he made?
Well, Kapu, thank you for having me, and good morning to your very cherished listeners. In fact, one may ask, what informed his decision to make this kind of statement? And there's a saying that there's no smoke without fire, and if you apply reverse psychology, is it the case that he, as a CDS, is sitting on certain information that we are not privy to? And you see, Catholic, we need to urgently address the structures within the military and make them responsible or accountable to Parliament. If you look at many jurisdictions in tandem with the law and the Constitution, you agree with me, or if you do your own research, you realize that indeed, almost all the powers vested in the operations of the military are in the hands of Parliament, with the President having the executive power to declare war otherwise. I can speak conveniently of the U.S. and then use this example of the deployment to Iraq. You know, the Senate had to confirm safe. Having said that, Kafu, you remember one General Bauer in the days of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah? He was General Bauer was the CDS at the time, and he was asked for the release of a military platoon for training up north. And they were released, only to go and train, and they came from there to kill him, and that triggered the coup that killed Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. You recall. So that is to buttress the point I made earlier that indeed, if we want to safeguard the gains we've made in our democracy and how far we have come, we have to urgently look at reforms every now and then, so that it is in tandem with our constitution and the system of governance we have chosen. And don't even go far. Rollenstein, right? When Dr. Hillary Liman had information that there was a possible coup, he didn't take any action. They even interviewed Rollins and said, nothing of that nature is on the table. you all know what happened. There was a coup. So merely giving this kind of assurances doesn't mean that it cannot happen. And I think that in terms of communication strategy, some of these comments are not helpful in the administration of our security architecture.
So you think he shouldn't have spoken to the journalists, Ghana GJA, and say these comments? Is that your view?
Well, unless, of course, there was an information to that effect, and there was credible evidence to that effect, that he was responding and reassuring Ghanaians and to the appointed authority of the citizens about our safety, our security and safety. Otherwise, it was needless. And then you look at the military coup d'etats that have happened over the period. It has never been the case that the top hierarchy of the military normally undertake these exercises.
Except the first one.
In recent
the first coup was top people, senior officers. And the ranks kept decreasing with over time.
I can't hear you, Captain.
The first coup was done with people at the very top. And then as we went through the years, the ranks kept decreasing until you had junior officers in 79.
Yes, like I mentioned, even in this country, the coups that we even experienced, apart from one or two that generals were involved, the rest it was junior officers that staged mutinies of this nature and bring on board the senior military officers to lead the process.
Okay.
And I was mentioning about the Sahel. It was mostly the heads of the presidential guards who have taken the action. So to me, Ghana is a very peace-loving country. And the conditions that precipitate coup d'etats are with us. The earlier we take steps in addressing them, the better for our democracy.
All right.
The economic challenges, the youth unemployment, the low morale within the rank and files of our personnel as a result of political interference and things like that. And look at it, the 1992 Constitution. Who propagated it? It was under the regime of a military ruler transitioning to a civilian rule. And you know, the caricature we call the 1992 Constitution was the creation of these individuals to protect their liberties and freedom even after they have left government. So we have to look at, like I mentioned when I appeared before your program, we need serious security sector reforms to make sure that the structures are accountable to Parliament, such that you cannot just wake up and see a military man on the street with guns and uniforms.
All right.
Sometimes I ask myself that taking militants on patrols with the police is really the right thing to go. One day, some of these things will implode on our face because we will not be able to have the firm grip in managing them. Okay. And I think that one of the things we have to look at is making our military almost, when I say almost, I'm not saying that we should take some of the powers from the president.
Right.
But that any military deployment, Parliament will have to approve.
Okay.
What the deployment is about and all those kind of things.
All right. We'll leave it here. Thank you so much, Emmanuel Kotun, Executive Director, Africa Center for Security and Counterterrorism, responding to the statement by the CDS, we won't support coups. He thinks the statement is unnecessary. Adele, do you agree with him or disagree?
To a certain extent, I do. Yeah, to a certain extent, I do. The reason being that, you see, there's already too much going on around Africa. And we've had conversations in this country where people have talked about we're going to have a coup, things are not working well. In fact, this is not the first time we've heard people talk about coups. I've heard in the past, even during the time of President Kufuor, before 2007, 2008, people talking about the fact that there could be another coup and all of that. But I think that to say it the way that he said he said it gives it a little more, weight. Pretty much maybe he's responding to what has been going on in the media and people basically speaking to it, and to give some assurance that, oh, don't worry, we're not doing this. But hey, I don't really think it's necessary. Well, Kafi, look, let's do some exercise this morning. So we have a definition for everything, Kafi. We have a definition for broadcasting, for example. We have a definition for being in school, being in tertiary, and we have a definition for marriage, for example. When two people decide to come together to settle, there are some rules and regulations that you follow. Men have certain responsibilities and women do have certain responsibilities. When you're a man, you're supposed to take care of the bills in the house. You go to work, you hustle, you come, you pay electricity, you pay water bills. That is what you ought to do. You're supposed to protect the woman. That's what you do. When someone does something which is unacceptable, when she's your wife, you stand up there, you be a man and you protect her. That's what you do. Now, when you find yourself in that kind of situation where a man comes home and then slaps his wife, he goes to work, comes home, something is not right, he kicks her in the tummy. Do you call that marriage?
Where are you going with this analogy?
So, the moment we admit that we want to practice what you call democracy, there's a definition for it. You say some, I say some. We be fair to the people. We take whatever is theirs, we put it in certain space and give it back to them. And then we benefit as well, because we're getting salaries and all of that. When you say you want to practice democracy and then you're indirectly practicing what is called dictatorship, it is not democracy.
Is that what we are practicing in Ghana now?
I'm saying,
is that your point? I'm
saying that things have gotten worse in this country. I've seen so many things go bad over the years. I was just looking. I'm looking at this. I keep looking at it. I was watching news yesterday, and I think there'll be a documentary that Joy News is going to be working on somewhere next week, where they talk about the galamsey, the cyanide, and the mercury. I've said this in this studio before. You're having kids being born with their limbs hardened. Some, their hands not fully formed because of mercury. You have people sitting in places who are supposed to make sure that all of us, our lives are protected, and this is going on. And when you speak, they say, oh, he's doing politics, he's NDC. If the reasons for which you're given the mandate is not being felt by the people, I don't call it democracy. It is democracy, and we agree and we give ourselves certain time, we give ourselves certain period to go and cast our votes, because we have admitted that he says and I say some. But immediately when you speak, no one else can speak. And what you choose to do is what you do. And when the people speak, it doesn't make any sense anymore. And what you have decided to do is what you do. It is not democracy. We're talking about Congo. 79 years. You're president since 40 years. You've been there for 39 good years. Democracy. It's just...
Fad, no coups in Ghana. CDS.
All right, thank you very much.
You support him coming out to say it publicly?
Thank you. Let me begin with saying good morning to our viewers this morning.
Yes, good morning.
And then to my people from Wenchi, let me say very good morning to them. Have we? It's Buzia's Hope. That's where I'm from.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Have we? It's important where we find ourselves today. Such assurances needs to be accepted from the military or the Ghana Armed Forces. Why am I saying this? It's important because over the past 3-4 years, we've witnessed coups within the sub-region and to a large extent within the African continent. And we've heard people in this country also making similar claims that the military should take over. What surprises some of us is that we've had 31 years of this Fourth Republic, right? We've had the NDC being in power for 16 years in the past. The MPP, we are heading towards our 16 years. But this is the point. Whenever MPP is in power, you hear our brothers and people from the other side advocating for such issues. It makes some of us wonder. Well, they had opportunity to be in power for 16 years. We had Doomso, where this whole country was plugged into darkness. Not even a single Ghanaian or member from our party even advocated or even thought of it to even come out and say, let's think of military takeover. It's something we should not even encourage. So I believe it is a very legitimate concern, and it's a very good call coming from the Ghana Armed Forces. Some assurances from them will bring peace to Ghanaian people. Very, very important. Yes, I listened to the experts And one important thing he talked about, some reforms within our military systems. I think it's important, because if we are going to have deployments, then there should be some higher authority that can hold them accountable for some of these issues. I think we are growing. 31 years plus democracy, Fourth Republic. We want to grow. So let's safeguard this Fourth Republic. And we can only safeguard it by looking at some of these reforms, which are significant and important to how best we can all charter a path for this country, such that tomorrow, the younger ones who take over, or the posterity also say that we are the Fourth Republic that has grown into 100 years undisrupted. I think that's what we should look at. We'll have our disagreement on issues, we will disagree on matters, but the most important thing is that the democracy we are practicing is what we need to look at. Okay. And I remember one thing the Chief of Defense Staff said was that we have 4 years to elect. So when the period comes, you disagree with government, you have an opportunity to vote him out. Bring a government you think can help solve some of the challenges we are facing as a country. Our problems will be with us. As we keep growing as a nation, there'll be challenges, there'll be problems we need to deal with as a nation. Sometimes political level, we have to deal with our problems. Sometimes even at the traditional authority level, has to deal with some of the problems. So we need to look at it from all this point of view and protect this Fourth Republic. What is important is how we can protect this Fourth Republic, safeguard it, so that posterity will say, we've practiced this for 50 years, 100 years, and we've made some success story out of it. If not, anybody who thinks anywhere that military takeover is a solution to any problem of any democratic country is really lying to himself. Okay. But the excess, one challenge I always say is the excess of military takeover. You can't quantify it. You can't measure it. And you can't even say that this government was so bad, but this military government is better. We know there are challenges. Let's deal with it. The Electoral Commission has opened registration exercise, ongoing, right? Go out there and register. 2024, there will be an election year. Go out there, make a choice. Whoever comes over, whoever takes over as a democratic government, continues again. If we disagree with them, 2028 there will be another system where we can vote again in protecting our democracy. We are growing. 31 years of democracy, I think we've come a long way. Let's protect it. That's what I am very much concerned on.
That's what Fad is saying. What do you say? 055-556-1034 is the WhatsApp number. And he talked about election 24, and they are all here because of election 24, really. So let me look at the quick next story. I don't know whether Adele will be interested in this, but Fad may. Alan and Green Street to partner for 2024. So this is a Times story that's in other newspapers as well. So following the NPP's Super Delegates Conference and subsequent withdrawal from the presidential primary slated for November 4, Alan John Trematin, former Minister for Trade and Industry, is said to be exploring the idea of partnering with the Convention People's Party's Ivor Kobina Green Street for the 2024 general elections. According to the sources who spoke to Ghanaian Times and pleaded anonymity, Mr. Trematin initiated talks with the two-time CPP flag bearer for a possible alliance. The source said that he initially tossed the idea of running as an independent candidate, but later abandoned the idea, realizing that it would be difficult to run a successful independent campaign in 2024. He is said to have held talks with the leadership of the Progressive People's Party and Convention People's Party, political parties that already have existing structures to make the campaign easier. And so, according to the source in the Ghanaian Times, discussions were far advanced with the CPP, and both Trematin and with Green Street were expected to announce their intent in the coming days. Are you shaking in your boots?
Well, this is more of an internal affair, which has become more now an external issue.
Internal to who?
It was an internal MPP contest where Alan decided to lead our party, right? And if you come to decision making, there is something called a decision model, which has two components: the objective function and the constraints. Alan wanted to lead our party with the objective of becoming the president. So that was the objective of his decision when he decided to contest on the ticket of our party. Unfortunately, he pulled out based on issues, based on some concerns he have brought up. I think it was legitimate concerns, parties addressing them. This information, well, I don't know the source of it. I don't know how authentic it may be, but then we can speak to it. The issue is that what is the objective function of this decision? What does he want to achieve? Is it want to be president? That's my concern. Because if you look at what he even pulled out from and what he's heading towards, then clearly tells you that there's no planning into what he's doing. He has determined since 2007 to lead the New Patriotic Party. Since 2007. And now he pulls out of that. And within 3-4 weeks, he's going to contest on another political party, the CPP, or I don't know what political party it may be.
How will it affect the NPP's fortunes?
How will it affect the NPP? Alan is one of us. We love him. We appreciate him. We cherish him so much. We will wish to see him on the campaign platform in 2024 with our presidential candidate campaigning for our party. That's what we wish for. We can't force him to do that. But we are pleading with him not to think of, at this point, hurting the party. Because the truth of the fact is, whatever decision he would take, if it goes against our party, it's going to hurt the chance of our party in 2024. We need everybody on board for 2024 elections. I say this, we've never done 2024 before. For the first time, we're trying to go beyond the 8-year cycle. So it is important that every member of our party comes together. It's something we are not entertaining. We are pleading with Alan. And I know some of his, as you indicated, some of his campaign members had already declared their support for some of the presidential aspirants. I just plead with him, and I believe elders of our party will talk to him that this is not a decision he should just take out of any haste, just because he wants to make a case to the party, to the country, or just to make a case that will affect our party. We are pleading with him. It's very, very unfortunate. Whatever concerns he raised during the presidential primaries, I believe we've taken note of them. Let's address them together as one big family. That is what family does. We have issues, we come back and sit down as a big family, settle our scores, then we move forward. We don't depart from the family tree and set up our own family just because we're not happy with something that is happening.
Adele, when two cockroaches are fighting, the hawk looks on and smacks his lips. Are you guys enjoying what's going on in the NPP?
I mean, Kafui, look, this is what I was indicating to you earlier on. That we say democracy. In democracy, we're supposed to have what you call equity. In fact, you know, Kafui, even in crime, when there's no equity, there's a problem. When two people get into a place and they steal and they agree that, look, we all hustled and stole this, so let's share it. One decides that it's 100 Ghana cedis. One decides that, oh, let me step on 80 and give him 20. There's a problem. Even when they know that they stole. But there's a problem. You're having these issues because the man has indicated categorically that there's no fairness, there's no equity. You say it's democracy. You set up rules and regulations for your own elections. You say this is how you want the elections to go. You go and you violate those rules and regulations. He says, I can't accept that. It's the same thing. Fad is sitting here talking about the fact that, oh, let's all be patient. Let's have the time. Let's wait. Every 4 years you can vote and blah, blah, blah. Yes, it's fine. You can do that. And then you have the Electoral Commission doing the things that she's doing. There's no fairness. You're telling me to move from which constituency? In some constituencies, in Bimbilla, in Tamale, and in Upper West and Upper East, you have to travel how many kilometers? If you need to bring a guarantor, you need to carry 2 guarantors. Or you need to come with 2 guarantors. You go, if you're not able to do it, you go back. You've seen the delays that are happening. What is the difficulty in opening up the space and making sure that everybody gets onto the register? Especially when you've been told that when the person is eligible, they must be given the chance.
What's got to do with Alan and Green Street?
I'm bringing you. So, Alan, Green Street, I'm raising these issues because I want you to understand. He indicates that yes, Alan is unhappy and he has left the party. The reasons why
he has not left yet, please.
Okay, no problem. He has left to go. I mean, the moment he goes
pull out from the contest.
The moment he decides to go independent, he would no longer be a member of the NPP. I'm speaking based on that. I'm saying that the reasons for which he is doing what he is doing is because he believes that there is no equity in what is going on. We as a political party, we have said to them, whoever they bring, however they bring it, whether it is Kennedy, whether it is Akoto, whether it is Baumia, whether it is Alan, whoever they bring, inshallah, if Allah wills, the next elections we're winning it, hands down. There's no two ways about it. But we want them to know that when you give us a contest, you know, you don't want the situation where the contest comes and then they go like, oh, if we weren't divided, we would have won. You know, we want the contest. We want them to give us a contest. And we know that the people of Ghana are listening and they are watching. And we know that if God wills the next elections, we're going to win it. The man has said something categorically clear. And I have said that currently, as we speak, the party is divided into 2 fronts. There are those who believe, who say they are the Northerners and believe that what happened some years back in the 2008 elections should not repeat itself. Why? Because in the 2000 elections, because of what happened to Aliyu Muhammad. And they believe that the Northerners are just being used, and then when it's time for leadership, they are placed on the side. So for them, this is the time for Bawumia to lead. The Northerners in the party must also have something to hold on to. Then you have those who believe that, look, this, whether you like it or not, this is an account party. You know, whether you like, oh, why? I've heard people from Alan's camp sit on Asempa and indicate statements like that. Whether you like it or not, it is an account party.
But are they useful statements? I mean, these are
they're not.
really very
no, they're not.
And
they are not.
Statements.
They are not. That's what I'm telling you. I'm saying,
yes,
but unfortunately,
why repeat them?
Okay, so these are informations that are out there. I'm telling you that it is these two schools of thought that is deepening the cracks that they have as we speak right now. And until they deal with that, if you don't know the problem, how do you solve it? These are realities. I've met with their people. We sit down together. When we go on TV sets and we come out, you hear the Northern communicators say some of these things, you know, behind the scenes, that Charlie, this is our time. You know, we must have a leader. You know, someone from our side also lead. So Alan is out there. He's saying that, look, I don't believe that the processes that went through this primaries, the superdelegates contest, I don't believe that it was free and fair. And I've tried everything possible. We've spoken about it. It's not going anywhere. I am pulling out of the race. I have spoken to certain people that are close to him who have indicated that he's going to go independent. In fact, they indicated that he was going to make an announcement. He announced that he was going to do a press conference, and then later it came out with a statement. Some of the reasons why that was done was because certain people within the party had told him to hold on to that announcement and allow them to do a few things first. Let's finish with the primaries and all of that, and then we pick it up, you know, from there. So, I mean, they have a lot of issues. I said, look, regardless of how these elections go, whether Alan takes it, assuming he didn't even walk out, whether Alan takes it or Bawumia takes it, they have some major reconciliation to do because both parties are serious.
Okay. I would love to hear your thoughts as well. Maybe I should just dive to the board and read a couple of messages for you. So Thelma will be coming to the board in a short while. But just to let you know that these bottles of water here are not juice or any kind of a herbal concoction. These are bottles from the River Pra. This was fetched last year in September. This was this year, April. And this is the latest addition to the group of water bottles just this month. So Galamsey is real, all from the same source, same place. And 25 Galamseyers have been jailed 115 years over illegal mining. That's a headline in today's Ghanaian Times. Takwa Circuit Court last Thursday sentenced 25 Galamsey people to a total of 115 years for illegally mining in 5 different Galamsey sites in the Western region in 2021. So the court was presided over by Mrs. Hatia Ama Menu. She sentenced them to 5 years each for conspiracy to commit crime, namely illegal mining, and 10 years for legal mining, contrary to Section 992 of the Mineral and Mining Act. So they were all sentenced lots of years. Somebody got 100 years, another person got 5 years. It was just... so what was the case in question? So they said that they were arrested in Takwa, mining under a high-tension cable, and then others were also engaged in mining on the river Ankobra with a mining dredge, aka Changfang. And then another group was also arrested at the Ankobra river mining for gold, later handed over to the Prestia police. And so these people, and they managed to confiscate a detector machine, 2 shovels, 2 pickaxes, which they use in their illegal mining activities. 1.5 acres of forest destroyed by illegal miners, including the accused persons. And they had dug pits, heaped sand around them. Basically, they were just mining for gold illegally, and they've been jailed. I hope they can spend that time there ruminating over their sins. By the board is Thelma, who hasn't committed any sin at all. She's here to just read your messages. 055-556-1034. You are responsible for your messages. She's responsible for reading them.
I'm not responsible for no sin.
No, at all.
So only good sin.
Whether good sin or bad sin.
We want the good sin. Good morning.
Okay.
Thank you for sending the messages to us. On the screen, good morning, Kafi. The controversial decisions by the EC and Judiciary, which are in collaboration in collaboration with, he says, the insensitive NPP ruling government, are the causes for many Ghanaians for a military takeover, and we do not support any coups in Ghana. Alan, you're a wise man. We believe in you. The NDC panelist is being hypocritic. So, Adele, you are catching, and your colleague. We are all in this country when Dr. Kwabena Dufo was frustrated to the extent that he took the NDC to court, which he later withdrew, and later announced his withdrawal from the just ended NDC presidential primary. So where is the moral right of the NDC to talk about disunity in NPP? Whatever happened against Alan during the super delegates didn't prevent him, Alan, from being among the top 5. So he withdrew because of reasons best known to him. Alhaj Skalu is speaking there. Good morning to you all in the studio. NDC, it is easy to voice out, but difficult to do. God willing, the Quran will speak for NPP 2024. NPP is going to win hands down. Inshallah is what this one says. Michael from Ashalaja saying, hi BFS, 2024 general election is going to be based on the individual flag bearer message for creating jobs and his competency to do so. Today, everywhere you go, no Ken, no vote. So Michael is obviously in the Ken camp this morning. Good morning, Kafui. Fact is, if we don't want a coup in Ghana, the ruling party must listen to the mostly opposition parties. Registration of voters at the district offices, please, is no, please, no. Joe Akwe sending, good morning, Kaf. I'm sure the CDS made those remarks about coups in response to a question posed by the interview. I simply do not understand the position of Mr. Emmanuel Coutin. The CDS could not have made the statement out of the blue. Nia Akwe is sending that message from North K. More on the screens. NPP spokesperson wants Ghanaians to protect democracy, but the NPP government is driving the country crazy. That's what Great P is saying. Good morning, Kafwe. It's disheartening to hear politicians and so-called security analysts talk about a possible coup as a panacea to current economic and political issues. I think we need to be measured in our public discourse. Let's discuss our issues and find solutions within the democratic framework we agreed as a people. Did Emmanuel say there was a coup is a good thing in any way? I don't think I heard him say that. But hey, long one from Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm. Good morning, good brother Kaf. Truth be told, my heart bleeds for this nation. It is time Ghanaians rise up to save our democracy from the hands of Madame Jean Mensa. In my humble opinion, she's a danger to our democracy simply because she has no respect for our laws and the rights of Ghanaians to register to vote in this country according to Article 42. It's the same woman who was all over the place under the leadership of Afarijan and Charlotte Osei, calling on them to make sure they do the right thing. So today, what has changed? It is time the Peace Council, the Christian Council, and other civil societies to rise up and speak against the wrongdoing by Madame Jean Mensa. And that's according to Alhaji Hamza. All the allegations and criticism against the EC by the NDC are all fallacy and cheap propaganda. They're trying to throw dust into the eyes of Ghanaians, but all be lies. JDM and his NDC people want to paint the EC black to Ghanaians, but Ghanaians will not give them any attention. They are only exhibiting their hypocritical attitude and hallmark, which is propaganda and lies. Yao or Sankey, they sent us that from Taifa. What are your thoughts on what we've talked about? 05555610334. Musa Abattoir in Aswansi, for an electoral commissioner to state categorically that they are not doing limited registration exercise for the purpose of registering every Ghanaian leaves much to be desired. I think you mean to say that's exactly what Dr. Serebo Okweku said over the weekend. This current EC leadership behaving as if they are political party contesting the NDC 2024 elections. More messages on our screens. Alhaji Haruna from Ashaiman. Govern the country well and there will be no coup. That is the only way to avoid the CDS. The CDS should know that there are mad soldiers within the military. He should check them. Alhaji said there are mad soldiers within the military. Melchizedek, we the people of Ghana do not want democracy again. Democracy has cost us too much. The constitution is of no good to the people. It favors only the politicians. Those are your thoughts and not the thoughts of any of us here at GBC. Democracy, we think, is the way to go. Good morning. And how are you? Today is a new week. See how someone is very hopeful, praying to the Lord and all that. And so those are some of the messages. Let me go up and see if there are new ones. Of course, there are. Kaf, I welcome your new politicians to the show. The EC woman boss is the best for Ghana politics for now. She's a man woman, Alhaji Dauda from Medina Estate. More on the screen. Good morning, Kaf. Some of these security experts don't... okay. According to you. Hey, so now people are being attacked at registration centers in Ghana. I'm even getting scared. Kaf, Alan is still an NPP man, somebody says. I think Alan's mindset is the best. He should join Green Street, but I don't think they can win the 2024 election. Tingan sent that from Tamale. Is it time to hand it back to you, Kaf?
Yes, indeed. Okay. Just read one more for me and then we're good to go.
Patrick says, the most important thing is looking at the causes of coup and comparing them with what's going on in Ghana. I don't know why NPP communicators speak for state institutions whilst they have PROs. So those are the thoughts that you are sharing with us. Thank you for making those points. As always, you reserve the right to your opinion and you reserve the right to have your voice heard in our conversations.
Thank you very much, Thelma, for the messages. Quick one before we just go off. On the line, we do have political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Asante. Good morning to you, sir. What is the significance of a possible Chimating Green Street alliance?
Hello, please, can you speak up a little bit?
I can. Good morning, Dr. Kwame Asante. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yeah.
Good.
It's loud and clear now. Please go ahead with your question.
Fantastic. Good to have you on the line. So you're a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana. I'm curious, what is the significance of a Alan Chimating Ivos Green Street political alliance running up to election 2024?
Are you sure that is the case? I don't know. But you media people also have your ways of getting information. So I will not underestimate your capacity to be able to get information in this regard. But come back to your question.
Yes, sir.
Right. Yes. In politics, there are alliances, there are forces that you can put together. The ultimate thing is to win power and form the next government. So for all political actors, they want to do anything under the sun to be able to win power. And that is in tandem with the definition by Harold Laswell, who said that politics is who gets what, when and how. It doesn't matter how you get it. All right. What matters is that at the end of the day, you have power and then you are going to run the affairs of the state and all the benefits associated with it will come to you. All right?
If this alliance were to happen, who would benefit, who would be at a disadvantage?
If you look at the alliance, if there's anything of that nature that he's going to align himself, is it with the CPP or Mr. Green Street? I want to be clear on that.
Green Street for now.
Sorry?
Green Street, Ivor.
Yeah. These are giants within the political space of this country. Mr. Green Street has been a very important figure in the politics of the CPP and by extension this country. He has contested a number of elections, lost, but it tells you how strong he is, how popular he is, and then, the rest of it. If you look at Mr. Chimating, he's a giant within the NPP. He has served his country very well as somebody who is honest, who is hardworking, and who nobody up to date has been able to label him in a negative way relative to issue of corruption and the rest of them. No, he's free from that. So you realize that you are dealing with a credible candidate, a very important candidate, and somebody who is popular and somebody who has certain things under his sleeves. He's somebody, a man with vision. He talks very little. He is a man who comes from very two important constituencies who determine the voting direction of this country one way or the other, the central region and Ashanti region. He is somebody who has really worked for the party that he wants to leave and then form this force to face the 2024 election. So, by all description, you can say that Mr. Chimating is a force to reckon with. So, if they decide to form a force that is going to contest the election, then it's not going to be easy. But one thing is clear, he will not win. If he goes as an independent candidate. Because if you look at the history of this country, independent candidates, even parliamentary, have struggled to win power. Come to talk about presidential, we don't know of the republics. And so it is alien to our political history in this country. And it tells you that it doesn't find favor with the voters who vote in this country. So if you are going on that route, then you are likely to be confronted with a problem. But if that is the intention, he is not going to win, because the two-party tradition is so strong in this country, the party tradition, that the parties are so strong. People identify with parties, they vote for parties, that when you are a party, you are with a party, and you decide to go away from the party, there are some who you carry along, and there are some who will stay and still want to maintain the party because of the benefits of political parties. So, obviously, you are not likely to survive if you go as an independent. Look at places where two-party tradition has existed for a very long time. United States of America, that of Britain, that of Canada, and the rest of them. Independent candidates have never survived. America, you talk about some years ago where a gentleman popped up and he wanted to challenge the status quo. He couldn't survive. So it is not easy for him if you want to go on that route. The second thing is that maybe you would like to form a party and then it becomes a third force with all disgruntled people, if I may put it that way, in there, and other people who think alike joining. That is a third force. In recent times, you have heard people, the conversation that a third force is important to do away with the NPP and NDC that people don't like and all that, because these two parties are always the parties that win, and they have not delivered the public good to the satisfaction of many and the rest of them. Yes, it's a concern people are expressing, and it is their hope that they attain that, but I can say without fear of contradiction, a third force is not likely to win power anytime soon.
So
it's going to take forever. And I'm saying that based on authority.
Right. So
I have a team that we do a lot of research, and we did one, and then we carry out our activities on TV3, the last election, if you watch us.
Right.
We did a study from 1992 to 2020, and we realized that all the political parties, the smaller ones that contested election, if you put their scores together, on the average, they have not gone beyond 4%. So what are we talking about? So
I mean, thank you for all the data.
Please, if you can speak up, I'm struggling to hear.
Yes. So then why would an alliance like this come to
Yeah, that's why allow me to flow. Then I'll come to that.
You
flow. I'm telling you that a third force cannot survive, because on the average, at least what we have seen, the average has not gone beyond 4%. And you are talking about a presidency where the threshold is what? Beyond 50%.
Right.
So that becomes an impossible adventure. But let's move into the third scenario. The third scenario is that, yes, you can be an independent candidate or independent party or a third force that will serve as a protest, entity.
Okay.
You are coming to what? Pull votes from your main party, your mother party, to punish them one way or the other. And that is, if that is the route you want to take, that one, it can really rock the boat of the MPP. Why am I saying that? Chemating is a giant, which I've said already. So if you decide to team forces with some elements of the CPP, which Mr. Green Ivor emanates from, he's likely to pull a lot of people from the NPP. I won't say a lot, a number of people from the NPP along. And remember that because of the electoral system we have in this country, that is the first past the post system, where you need to cross the finish line by one. One vote will set you apart from your contestant. It tells you that one vote is critical to move you from a candidate to become a president. So if he's able to pull even 2,000 people, I tell you, he can rock the boat of the MPP. Let me give you an example. In 2000, there was a protest party that came on board. And you recall, it's what? The Reform Party.
Indeed.
It was a protest party that really worked against the NDC, where NDC, it was its stronghold, and they lost marginally. They lost to Reform. Because in certain places, NDC lost the votes. Their 6 Okre constituency and so I think they lost about 6 votes, where Reform had about 250. Even if 50 people had voted for the NDC in addition to what they had, they would have carried the day. So where NDC lost marginally, especially in their stronghold, and Reform got some chunk of votes, you realize that cost the party a lot. If that is what the route Mr. Tremateng is taking, then he's going to rock the vote of the MPP big time. I can say without fear of contradiction, because he's a giant.
We live to see what happens, but thank you so much, Dr. Kwame Asante, political science lecturer, University of Ghana. Thank you so much for your insights. We wish you the very best. Thank you for just explaining everything to us and giving us the possible scenarios. Gentlemen, we are out of time. What are we looking forward to in your camp this week? Adele.
Kafui,
where is your presidential candidate right now?
Yesterday, Sunday, he was static. As we speak today, no, I don't have details.
But over the weekend?
Over the weekend, we had a program at Kalkuli. I mentioned that earlier. It was a Muslim Zongo kind of forum that we brought people together to have conversations towards election 2024. We're still pushing for limited registration, so we're pushing people through. Myself, this week, I'll be going to certain constituencies to see how it goes. I was recently given the position and appointment for the director of operations for the youth wing. So
congratulations, man! I wish you the best.
We're pushing.
Yes. Where's your candidate?
I believe my party, we're still running our second phase of the presidential primaries.
Okay.
So over the weekend we had a showdown walk.
Okay.
Where we had Dr. Baumia also in the OT region.
Why he's calling his walk showdown?
The walk was, I think that was the name of the walk. It was showdown walk.
Showdown walk.
Yes.
Kennedy.
That was Saturday over
Kennedy's walk.
Yes, it was.
Are you in Kennedy's team?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm just saying it's a party.
Okay.
They're all party members.
All right.
They're all party members.
Okay. Showdown walk.
So I'm also saying Dr. Baumia also in the OT region.
Okay. Doing a showdown walk also.
Doing meeting delegates over there.
All right.
And the registration exercise also ongoing.
Yes.
We are monitoring.
Okay.
And we are urging Ghanaians to go out there and register so they have the opportunity to vote in 2024.
Fad Usman speaks for the MPP. Adel Umar speaks for the NDC. Kafui Day speaks for you, the viewers. We have a conversation on artisanal canoe entrance. And we have the Honorable Moses Enim, Deputy Minister of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, standing by to have a conversation with Thelma. We're looking at the International Week of the Deaf, and we'll have breakfast with Jane Amarachi right here on GTV Breakfast. Kafui Day.